Most gold price predictions have easy to remember whole numbers, and they usually end in 0 or 5, unless it's silver. But nonetheless, this is gold, and this number is very strange and has me thinking, what kind of madness is this? So I want to know what that is and who's making these kind of predictions. We'll talk about it as we explore. People have been trying to speculate on gold's price for a long time, and most of you probably are tired of hearing all these different predictions. I like to bring some of these videos to you only to kind of give some perspective on how real this could or could not be. And when you see $2,941 per ounce over the next 12 months, well, in this day and age, that's pretty believable. Indeed, it could happen, especially considering how fast gold has been climbing over the past year or two. And likely we're going to see prices move up before they scale back. How long it will take, I'm not sure. And some of the reasoning behind these numbers really falls in line with who is making this prediction. I'm going to be referencing a piece here from Reuters that was sent to me by a member of the community, Tony Erickson, that will give us a little bit of insight as to who is making the prediction, but it's not going to tell us a whole lot. But we can make an inference as to who is doing it, making these predictions, and how realistic is this price. So let's get into what they're saying here from Reuters. And this is fascinating indeed that it's a number like that. And for those of you who are mathematicians, you may already know the answer as to why that is such an unusual number here. The price of gold is expected to rise $2,941 a troy ounce over the next 12 months from the current price where it is now nearing an all-time high. It has pulled back since the recording of this video, but it's been remarkable to see gold's price break yet another record. So what's going to happen? We'll find out. And now that what had occurred is the delegates at the London Bullion Market Association's annual gathering, they made this prediction on Tuesday. This was a poll of delegates at the LBMA conference that was held in Miami, Florida. They also predicted higher prices in a year's time for silver, platinum, and palladium. So everything is going to go up according to these individuals. And now, who are these delegates? Well, my guess is probably industry insiders, maybe some prognosticators, the mining sector, who knows? Anybody that's kind of involved with the London Bullion Market Association, which, by the way, some of the products that you see here on your screen might be LBMA approved. And so, therefore, they have relationships with some of these agencies and organizations. So you can guess, probably have already made the guess, that essentially it revolves around this idea of an average of everybody's views. And I don't know, we don't see the data behind the polling. We don't know who made what kind of prediction, but likely probably it was an anonymous poll, something they could do there, and then the information was shared out. The overall point is that everybody is bullish that attended that meeting, that annual gathering. And that is the point of this video. It's an unusual number, but when you average it out, that's what it comes down to, which means that I don't know of anybody who says it's going to go back down in a year's time. And so that's what the industry is saying, at least those that are in the know that are associated with the London Bullion Market Association. Spot gold prices are up 29 to 30% this year, heading for the biggest annual gain in 14 years amid the start of the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rate cuts and geopolitical tensions. Those are two of the biggest drivers right now, aside from central banks continuing to hold gold. I think that is a big driver as well, too. Notwithstanding, we did see some pullbacks in gold's price whenever some of the tensions eased a bit, only for a brief amount of time. And if they were to ease, especially in the Middle East, I think we will see gold prices subside a bit. That will put a damper in some of those predictions. But I think that most folks in this organization, and probably most analysts out there, feel that with interest rate cuts coming all through next year, that's going to be good for gold, because gold is a non-yielding asset and it's not competing against high interest rates. And so that is what is leading to this, some of this analysis. It's fascinating. And by the way, delegates came in from around the entire globe who predicted that silver prices would jump to $45 an ounce in a year's time from around, where it stands now. That is a very bullish call. I don't think that's going to happen, by the way. I would not be surprised if we saw maybe prices edge up higher than $35. I've actually made a prediction for silver at $35 this year to end the year, or touch $35 by the end of the year. But who knows if that really will happen? I don't know. But I think 45 is a bit strong of a prediction. But hey, I could be wrong. But I'm very tepid in my predictions for silver because, I've seen history and I've seen what's happened in the past, and silver tends to get knocked back down again. Hence, is why we have the high gold to silver ratio that we are witnessing right now. So that is kind of a fascinating prediction that they're making for silver. Silver has touched a record high of $49 an ounce back in 2011, and those were 2011 $49. It's very different than today. If silver would have touched $49 again today, it's nowhere near the adjusted for inflation record high. And by the way, gold is also not at a record high when adjusted for inflation. It would need to be about $3,200 to $3,300 in order for it to gain the all-time record high when adjusted for inflation. We're a pretty good clip away from that as well. But nonetheless, it is fascinating and interesting information here. And that's why I bring some of these videos to you, because even though some of the predictions can be a little bit crazy that some are saying, even some of the commercial banks out there that make their predictions, it's noteworthy because of two things: sentiment, or if they want to drive the markets. Many people feel that when some organizations make a prediction of silver or gold, they want to drive the markets, and it's a psychological move. They're playing us like a big game of chess. That's what some people really strongly feel. Others feel that sentiment really is bullish or bearish, considering what's going on, with some analysis that takes into account a lot of different factors. And even though silver is more complex, gold has a lot of those same factors, in part because, gold is a metal that has industrial use. It is used in science and technology, biomedicine, and the like. But that those kind of applications, though, are something that is not nearly as much as what drives silver prices. So demand for gold is a little bit different. And the gold that is treasured, held in these vaults, that's not going to see the light of day again until they are sold. And everybody's been hodling in terms of central banks around the world when it comes to gold, holding on for dear life, for sure. And I have, by the way, as an aside note here, I am taking a huge risk by showcasing these precious metals on this turntable. Every time I do this in videos, it hardly gets any views. So watch the views on this video, and you will see the views decline because I am cursed by this turntable every single time. So if you want to help me, or if you feel for me on the curse of this video's performance, will you do me a favor and press that like button down below? If you give me that like, maybe that'll help throw it off just a little bit. But gold, it's a metal. As mesmerizing as it is to look at, it is a metal that has certainly performed well. And what does it mean for gold to perform well? To preserve your wealth and to have a system of savings outside of the current environment from which we find ourselves apart. That environment, by the way, is based off of corruption, much of it. I hate to say that. I used to not think that way, but I do now, in terms of the big banks and in terms of the government institutions that back them. And it's not just here in the United States either. It's around the world. There's a lot of things going on, and this is why I like the idea of having precious metals in my portfolio, and gold especially. Now, I am a huge fan of silver. Make no mistake, but gold, since I have started really concentrating on it about 7 years ago, I have noticed, and I've seen even beforehand, that it is a more stable store of value than silver because it has mainly just one purpose. Aside from what I mentioned earlier, that it can, and it does have industrial, military and other applications like silver does, just on a much smaller scale. And the vast majority of gold is treasured and utilized for things of beauty and for storage of wealth over the long course of time. Both gold and silver are recognized in our Constitution in Article 1, Section 10 as money. And therefore, it is prudent upon us, and many states around the country here in the United States have recognized gold and silver as legal tender, or at least have taken away some of the barriers that make it so in many of the states around the country. And I hope other nations will also recognize it, and they are indirectly by storing it. Nations like Poland, Turkey, Czechoslovakia, Germany all store gold. So does the United Kingdom. And some nations have sold off a lot of it, like the United Kingdom did with Brown's Bottom, but others have held on to it. And if you believe the United States has, the United States, then that 8,133 tons that we've got, well, we've not added a single ounce more, but at least we still got what we have. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section below. I hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Thanks again to Tony for sending this information to me. And I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for watching and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.